Okay, let's unpack this deep dive. Today, we're looking at something I think we all do, which is trying to research a product online.
Right.
Specifically, it's an item called the XALL multipurpose cleaner spray. We're really looking at what happens when you try to figure out if the seller is legitimate.
Yeah, our source material here is a consumer review channel, and they promise to deliver an unbiased review to see if the site selling this stuff is, legit.
Mm-hmm.
But our mission here is a little different. We're going to analyze the review itself. We want to understand the method they use to decide what legitimacy even means for an online store.
And that's where it gets really interesting because, for anyone who relies on those little trust scores online, this is a real aha moment.
It really is.
So before we jump in, just a quick reminder for everyone listening, this is educational commentary. We're focusing on marketing claims and consumer transparency, not giving any kind of medical advice or product endorsement.
Okay, so the review claimed it had this really robust vetting process. They said they checked 40 different elements.
40. That's a lot.
It is. And these weren't about the cleaner itself, but about the website. Things like, hidden content, where the site is hosted, the tech it's using, that kind of thing.
Let's pause on that for a second. Hidden content. What does that actually mean, and why would a reviewer even look for it?
That's a great question.
Mm.
Generally, it refers to things like keyword stuffing, or maybe text that's invisible to a user but can be read by a search engine.
Ah, I see.
It's a classic red flag in the world of search optimization. It often suggests someone is trying to manipulate their rankings, which, isn't what you want from a reliable seller. The fact they checked for it shows they were trying to be thorough.
And after checking all 40 of these points, they gave it a score.
They did. They assigned it a trust score,
Yeah.
and they explicitly called it good.
So, a good score. That sounds like a clear green light, right? Problem solved.
You'd think so. But what's fascinating here is the immediate contradiction that just pops up in their own findings.
Oh.
Yeah. Despite that good score, their own technical analysis noted that the website server was, well, it was extremely smooth, high performance.
Okay.
And according to their own research methods, that smoothness could be an indicator of a suspicious website.
Wait, hold on. I have to challenge that. I think we've all been taught that a fast, slick, professional-looking website is a good thing. It means the company is competent. Why would that be a sign of trouble?
And that's the tricky part. The game has sort of changed. See, genuine, long-established websites, they often have a bit of lag, maybe some older code, real-world traffic strain.
Right, they feel lived in.
Exactly. But some of these more sophisticated operations that pop up, they rely on modern, super lightweight, disposable website templates. They're hosted on these really fast, specialized servers.
Because they're not meant to last.
Precisely. A site that runs too perfectly can sometimes mean it's a short-lived operation designed to just, grab some sales and then vanish.
Yeah.
The technical data here directly conflicts with what we think of as good.
So you've got a numerically good score, but the very quality of the tech is also a warning sign. That just seems like, well, what was the point of the whole exercise if the results fight each other?
It really highlights the limits of these automated scoring systems. Because the final stated conclusion in the review was, well, it was completely inconclusive.
You're kidding, after all that.
Nope. They basically summarized the website's status as appearing to be either a scam or legit website.
So it could be one or the other. Thanks for clearing that up.
Right.
And the most telling part for me was the advice they gave at the end. They told the user, and I'm paraphrasing the sentiment here, we also recommend you make a right conclusion on the basis of manual research.
After all of that, yeah. The 40 checks, the score,
Yeah.
it all came back to you figure it out.
It's like they handed the whole vetting process right back to the consumer.
And that really reinforces the main point. You can't completely outsource your own judgment. You have to be a critical thinker. Even when you get metrics like a trust score, if the results are contradictory, you have to do more digging yourself.
So what does this all mean for you when you're relying on these online reviews? I guess the process of how you research matters way more than just looking for a simple yes or no answer.
Yeah, that complexity should be a signal to you to investigate deeper, not to just click buy based on a single good score.
Right.
And that raises, I think, a really important question for you, the listener. If a review promises an unbiased answer, but just gives you ambiguity, where is the real value? Is it in that useless final answer? Or is it in learning which specific contradictory factors, like server smoothness versus a numerical score, you should be looking out for in your own manual research?